There are those who are smart, and then there are those who think they're smart. Now, if they think they're smart, they are like the adolescents who are not any longer 12 to 24, but that continue the I know everything. And I've met plenty of them. Like, I find it hard to believe, Maria, that my 1 year old or 3 year old has anything to do with what I'm doing with my life right now. And we're going to get to the crow at some point, but not this one. This one's going to be a short one. However, let's remember what the crow is. I'm a 5D mystic in the enlightenment soul age group. I'm a functional adult and I'm attachment trauma informed. And wow, those academics who have facts, let me know I'm smart because my prefrontal cortex works really well and I didn't have an adolescent brain because I was never short sighted. Because, there's this thing called, thank you, Sadhguru. Let's see. That I am mortal. If you are conscious that you are mortal, there is no time to do anything stupid. You have to stay on track. Exactly. So I noticed from my 11 to 14 that all adolescents were stupid. And I said, I'm not going to be stupid. I know I don't know everything, which is what makes me smart. And in fact, when I started with the inner growth mindset, Be Yourself, it is based on psychology, sociology, and existentialism, and on my experience with Jesus and God. And now, as a 5D mystic, I have to call it Akash because I'm an Akashic record reader. I'm a tarot card reader. I'm a Reiki master. And we know there's groups of those who think they're smart that tell us they have proof. I have proof with Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist, actual tangible proof that there's a fear receptor in the brain. But people don't like that technology sees our embodied brain. So, while quantum physicists are still contemplating how the universe will end, I know they know a lot about existential physics. Thank you, Sabine. I'm still reading the book. So, the crow. The crow is the keeper of universal law. Let's go and check that out. The law of truth. You know what does a crow sound like? I was thinking about that, which reminded me of as an adolescent when I told all those teenagers to stop doing stupid things that would lead them down a path that wouldn't help them. I learned how not to cast a stone because good and bad. Nope, I'm imperfect and flawed, and good and bad is only for those who think they're smart and still believe there's a devil or demon that possesses someone versus knows what dissociative identity disorder is and what alters are and consciousness and memory barriers. So when people don't know the facts, but they like Wendy's that tell them that it's the Luciferian era and that basically because it makes me think of Elvis when they cut off the way he was dancing. Now, granted, I don't appreciate the new age music. It's not because new age spirituality is bullshit, by the way. No, I'm just saying there's no need to get exaggerated. But what do teenagers do when they're angry at their parents? They spite them, right? They go and do the very opposite. So, adolescents who don't have a prefrontal cortex and don't listen because they don't hear the grown ups, yes, I listened and I heard the grown ups. This is the Jacob personality. And I also have the Isaac and Abraham, but Jacob is where I sit because my mother sat me with equanimity, and that's where I have a twin. So I had to share her too. So I learned to hear no defectiveness just for a minute. And so my 1 year old's cool, my 3 year old's cool, no shame, which is why the teenagers on my bus wanted to beat me up because I would say, hey, I'm going to rat you out. Don't come near me. How dare you? You're going to jinx us. Sure, whatever. I just told you what's going to happen. So people don't like the truth when they hear it. And I know people like the excuse. You know who superheroes fight? They fight supervillains, and then who they save? They rescue themselves, but they don't get to the end of that journey because that's the fourth step to recovery of trauma. So when you hear teenagers yelling, and when they're following a Peter Pan or Venus, you're going to know who they are because they are going to sound a lot like, I know everything. Really? So you know that the people who have mental health are people, right? Yes. So they might not want to get their maladaptive child behavior on par, but they might, yes. And that's what's an honor to see the ones who are saying, you know what, I know my 1 year old didn't want to live this, so I'm not going to be the adolescent with the novelty thinking who thinks I can get away with everything, because that's exactly what those teenagers, and you know what, Michael Stone, your scale, forensic criminologist, the 1 to 7, they all get in trouble because they think they can get away with it. Now, let me think of how many movies I've seen where they don't get away with it. No, they do all the time in the movies, not in real life, right? Okay, so how many 11 to 24-year-olds do I know that are no longer that age? Well, here's the thing about your brain. It doesn't move towards integration unless you create a relationship with your inner world. So allowing the emotions to come up and the left to become friends, and for you, left and right, to move towards integration. So what I've noticed is that the 11 to 24 adolescent brains that didn't move into integration like I did, yes, they are living out their karma wheel. What's even more hilarious is that they live out the 0 to 8 years of age within their relationships if they don't go and get a good therapist. And that's why I'm like, wow, really, badass is nothing if you don't have one, the desire to move back to secure attachment, which was what you were supposed to originally. Now, I know there's still holes that they're filling into the research. Don't get it wrong. Oh, the academics, they had a beautiful debate about why we really shouldn't in 2024 call any human inherently good or evil. I agree, because Patrick McNamara with the brain, neuroscience also shares how the brain works and all people are healable. My disorganized attachment DID course with the lady who is healed, who's writing a book. So, why are we demonizing or romanticizing this entire mental health group of all? Which is where those of us who care, we're like, yep, come on over, healthy self worth people, because we can all get back, and some of us never left, pure consciousness. It's called unconditional love. Not because we're going to be friends with everyone. No, no. Because we know how to say the truth in your face, not behind your back, and not to think that we can get away with everything. Because why is that even still part of a person as you get older? Like there's reasons why some people have to. And this is where those tests have to. Okay, so if you're poor, and we know that we still have a problem with poverty. Okay, so let's not say world is perfect. So you're not going to go too much down this path, but I think of this famous story that I got to read. It's called Les Miserables. I read it 5 times, I think, for my AP French. I love French. And so here's where he was stealing a piece of bread because he needed it for his family. That makes me sad. And then I think of those psychology tests that they hand out to people, which I'm going to say that was a trick question, because really, if somebody's starving to death, that's physical. So let's take care of, step by step, by becoming a herd that knows how to be smart for real, which is our brains. They develop a certain way. So there's proof that every person can be kind and compassionate because they can get home to their secure attachment. As for the laws and for poverty and all of that, well, we have a lot of way to get to a sweet spot. So I'm gonna again get back to the crow here, the keeper of universal law, the law of truth. The crow teaches us to walk our talk, to find congruence between who we say we are and who we really know ourselves to be. You can't know yourself if yourself is not whole yet. So the maladaptive child behavior and adaptive child, they don't have a whole self yet. First, they get to work with their shame, blame, fault, revenge, and or any of that trauma, big trauma, small trauma, it doesn't matter. So the 11 to 24, they can get out of this idea of high risk behavior, which is not only an idea. See, the body in the midline is looking for them to come back home, make sense of the narrative. So the emotions come up. It's like Peter Levine putting a hand in the mouth of a dog that's biting it to free yourself. So this is why, as childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing, Patrick Tiahan, therapist, shares to his audience, remember who you're talking to. We have cowardice out there, people who are emotionally lazy. He tells them that because they're doing the work. And when people go and crap on them for doing the work, they are feeling ashamed when they're already trying to get out of that. Okay, so let's cheer the ones who are returning home to their whole self. I'm a whole self right here. I'm here for any person who wants to build 5D relationships. And the people who are doing the emotional lifting, they're happy to have people who have healthy self-worth, so they don't have to get into those push-pull dynamics of maladaptive child behavior, adaptive child behavior, which act like teenagers that I did meet, who did think they could get away with things and did things without ever saying once they were sorry or any of that. No, they just said, it's not personal. Yeah, you know what? It's true. It isn't personal. You know why I didn't get beat up? Because I knew exactly which grown-ups to go to. And luckily for me, I was also in a school where, yeah, I got lucky, because I'm pretty sure I would not have made it too well alive in other schools. I know that, but I wouldn't have stood down from the truth, because why would I not speak my truth? I'm not a person who has a shame 3-year-old. My mother taught me how I could speak the truth. It's the whole point. So none of us are annoying unless we want to be. I learned how to share with people who care about their self, so they choose themselves. Hey, you know what? You can actually reduce that trauma stuff and eventually lead to earned secure attachment. It's really awesome. And you can have relationships where people take care of each other, like Manny, Diego, and Sid, but better. We're all pachas because Manny, Diego, and Sid, they have situations going on. But my point is, the winged one insists that we speak truth, that we create truth instead of searching for it, and that we bring truth to every situation we find ourselves in. Now, this is the part. It doesn't come from the past, it comes from the now. In fact, any person who is from our year of 2024 knows that being fearlessly bold and co creating with spirit doesn't mean there's a group. It's called the human group, and that's where I'm at with my attachment and trauma information. And the point of who is smart is a person who knows, one, not to seek novelty in a way of a teenager, and then that you want to set an example for all teenagers, not just some. We don't want them. I remember getting taught by grown-ups. Now there's always that middle ground, but the good grown-ups taught how to self-respect and why things are bad, and anybody who's smart for real will know moderation, and not that yoga brings demons out of you or that Reiki is yucky energy. Okay, so that's for groups of people who I'm going to know they're not tuning in to anyone. They're thinking we're in the Luciferian era. That's where they're at. And 4D's wearing superhero capes, fighting supervillains. And the ones who want to be the supervillains, they're not supervillains. They're trying to protect themselves, and that's all denying emotions because it's too hard. No, it's not. They choose to be emotionally lazy. They choose to ignore the first year of their life, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, and then they go live out relationships with those. That's the part that gets me even more, because they're living out their unconscious, saving them. They don't save themselves at all, because either you're going to get a good therapist and then with Terreal do unfinished business so that each person can heal their inner child, or you're going to get into one of those martyr, superior, blamer, codependent, low self-esteem, passive aggressive, indirect communicators. They don't know boundaries. And in fact, like that one love dependent, manipulative, desperate man who made it a point after 3 years of me consistently making sure he knew I didn't want to be friends, but he's drunk and he's 50 and older. That's an adolescent behavior right there. In fact, I did see that at my age of 24 in college, 20, 21, 20. Now it explains a lot of things. And then as I saw it continue, I'm 44. I was like, wait a minute. And then I got attachment trauma informed. The difference between an actual adolescent brain that is energized is this: I have energy, I know moderation, I don't feel void or numbness here, and that's because I'm consistently expanding with love in my heart for humanity and people. But wait, let's get to why. Prefrontal cortex. So my prefrontal cortex is locked in and loaded. This is what your integrated brain looks like. Those adolescents, alert, alert, alert. So when people are not working to notice their maladaptive child behavior, okay, so when they're not noticing that fearless and bold is not about being reckless, okay? Just saying that fearless and bold means about being composed and empowered, which you can achieve because it's an embodied brain. Okay, so secure attachment with integration of the brain, restorative embodiment, woman, man, or they can share with you what's happening, and I can share with you the brain stuff. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. So the prefrontal cortex communicates directly with the areas below it, and the areas below it are actually what the body brings up and whatever's from your past, okay? So to regulate things depends on the monitoring and modifying. So your prefrontal cortex is what you need in order for you to regulate the limbic area and the brainstem, which now they call the subcortical area, which the two get the input from the body. So a 0-1-year-old who's crapping themselves again and again and again in hypervigilance, yes, it's not funny to see. So novelty again, and seeking high thrill and having void in here. And then when you hear people who get diagnosed and they're doing a good job and they say, they told me I was doing a good job, and since people are picking on avoidant attachments, I'm going to go and make a lot of videos and say that people who smile are pretending and depressed, and everybody's fucked up. So why bother with journaling or mindfulness or meditation or any of that? I'm just going to say humans are fucked up and keep the pain in here. Well, here's the last, and we'll end with mindfulness and mindsight. Mindsight, you scan your sensations, but you need to have the capacity to be objective with yourself and say, I do have emotions. And then know your window of tolerance, not move into offline. If you are offline and out of body, you're re-traumatizing yourself. So see, there's smart people who know things and say it's a process that you walk with people and that you use. If you care about yourself, you don't re-traumatize yourself. You don't consistently go watch videos. I've seen people with videos where they're actually actively on screen showing things, but not in a way of being helpful. I know the ones who are being helpful because I'm spotting them slowly, and that's because we're building our new societal culture with stop demonizing and romanticizing mental health groups. Thank you so much. I'm going to name her again. Where are you? Kylie. Go follow her. Kylie Rickham. And there's another person I've mentioned. So we don't demonize people. They're not demons. They're humans. We don't romanticize. It's not fun. Any of person who has actually taken seriously their inner world is going to be healing it, because that's what all the great therapists that I'm learning from. Yes, they have a group who doesn't believe in any of it. We're okay with the ignorant. They're there for the human suffering love people who hear the Zen master telling them they got laundry in here, or the people who say we're all fucked up. So that's the lame excuses of the adolescents who think that that behavior actually means something in 2024. Okay, so when you use your prefrontal cortex and when you do mindfulness and mindsight, the mindsight mindfulness, any reflective activity, one brings stuff up. So again, window of tolerance, very important for you to notice. And the left mode, your chit chatter, you want silence from the chit chatter, and you want to notice, okay, how am I going to self soothe in an effective, healthy way, not in a reckless way, not in an idiot way, not in drugs, alcohol, the fucking, the drugging. Did I say that one? Going and do whatever it is on high speed chases or something like that. Yeah, no, again, not the movies. So we have one day to live every day. If you are conscious that you're mortal, there's no time to do anything stupid. You will stay on track. Thank you, Sadhguru. And that's where we are here for the ones who want to make a difference. You need to live to make a difference. You need to be a part of society to make a difference. And you don't have to, nobody does, but a 1 year old who has secure attachment will want to, because no human's fucked up. Nope, there's answers to every single one of the I have misery in here that I've heard my 44 years of life. And it's called you using left and right. So when you're in focused attention, oh, I'm breathing. Ah, now I'm in awareness. And anytime you're in awareness, what's uncertain and certain comes up. And now I bring in kind intention. Why? So that I can tell my body it's safe. And this is very important for every person. And then you make sense of the sensations, images, affects, meanings, and behaviors that come up. No shame, though. No blame. No fault. No revenge. Those are safety behaviors of a trauma cycle. No, it's, let me be Jacob for a minute. In equanimity and unflappability, this stuff's coming up. What does it mean? My thoughts and emotions are not irrefutable facts. Oh, look, I have pent up energy. What am I going to do that's healthy? So there's those who are smart and those who think they're smart. Let's be the ones who are smart, share love, be kind, compassionate, and we will work with people who are lifting themselves up because they're emotionally needing help up, versus the ones who are staying down and saying that they and their adolescent attitude is actually the way of life. Those are all Cuscos. They're Pinocchios with ears and a tail on the island with their 7 of 14 charming. And we're going to keep talking about it at some point. But for now, here, being ourselves, our true human selves, it's beautiful. Come on over and let's support 5D relationships and each other. Have a great one. Like, share, and subscribe.